we're having two events here today. The Home of Cycling is having an open day today, so that's been part of what we're about, and also we've got a schools road cycling mini tour that involves 70 odd kids from around the countryside who are doing a 3-stage mini tour.
Okay, so in regard to the Home of Cycling project, can you tell us just a little bit about the whole project?
Sure. So the project involves the bid which we've been successful in becoming the preferred tenderer, and that's to build a indoor velodrome, international quality indoor velodrome in the location of our choice. Our proposal was to build one here at St Peter's School. Fantastic central location, great facilities, great roads for training, close to a fantastic international BMX track that the Cambridge Club have just finished building, and also within 90-minute drive, or within an 80-minute drive even, of Rotorua for fantastic mountain biking. So fantastic central location for all forms of cycling, and our proposal has been accepted as the preferred bid. We're working on the funding solution at the moment, and making, thankfully, some very solid progress, particularly in the last week, with a significant contribution from the Perry Group from Hamilton, which has really put it almost in a position of being beyond doubt. We hope, So it's been a fantastic week.
When you talk about we and our, who exactly is the group behind all of this?
Well, I guess when it first started, the we was me. I had a talk to the Waipa Mayor Alan Livingston about it 18 or 20 months ago, when I first became aware that it was working its way through the pipeline with Spark and Bike NZ. Subsequent to that, Matthew Cooper and I had some discussions, had a meeting. A variety of people turned up once they heard about it. Simon Perry was one of the early ones. It originally involved some people from Wintech. We've kind of drawn a whole lot of people into it as it's progressed, and now the we is a group of 9 or 10 people who include myself, Matthew, Simon, Rob Waddell, who's also one of the trustees. Brendan Cameron's been providing some really cool technical advice from an elite cycling and coaching point of view. And Livingstone Building from Hamilton, Mike Livingston, Dave Livingston, Mike particularly very into cycling, so they've come on board with a construction expertise, which has been fantastic, and pretty stable group. But we have managed to surround ourselves with some pretty cool business people and thinkers, which has helped to progress it.
So, assuming the project does go ahead, who do you imagine are going to be the people that actually use it, and how would that be broken up?
It's certainly a question that's been posed a lot of times, and it's been one of the criticisms of the project that it's about building an elite sports facility that will only be used by elites. That's actually not the case, although at the pointy end there'll be a lot of elites who will make a lot of use of it. 30% of the use will be set aside for Bike NZ for their high performance and development programs, and it's important to note that 30%, the majority of that is at non-peak times. Bike NZ will use it typically between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, and 2 o'clock and 4:30 in the afternoon. So mostly their use is at times when nobody else is queuing up at the door to use it. So it's actually a fantastic compromise. Aside from their 30%, there'll be significant school time use by St Peter's School and other schools. We'll be hoping to fill up all of the time during the day that's not being used by Bike NZ by using St Peter's students and busing other students in from around the regions, and that's going to have some positive spin-offs in terms of developing the sport at a community level. We've also programmed that every night will be racing of some form, and that's targeting community people. So that's your average club punter who may be 18 and a potential future superstar, or he's 80 and he's just riding because he enjoys it, or she enjoys it, in fact. So a tremendous amount of community use, and we'll be looking to run our own development programs as well, and typically they'll be before school, so 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the mornings, Monday to Friday, a little bit later maybe a sleep in during the weekends. But a huge amount of community use of the facility. But it's important to understand that not only is the facility, or the facility is about track riding, But the whole proposal is about cycling, so it's about road cycling, track cycling, mountain biking and BMX. Part of our proposal is that it had to be within a 30-minute drive of a international standard BMX track. Cambridge BMX Club have just built one that's almost to that. We've got to invest some money in supporting them and doing some more development on their track so it comes up to standard. So as part of that, it's a requirement of us that we'll be running BMX development programs in the community. So that's a huge spin-off, particularly for the young kids. Although an increasing number of older people are riding BMX now. Mountain biking within 90 minutes of Auckland, and within 90 minutes of Rotorua. And one of the important things for us is that we develop mountain biking programs. Mountain biking is the weakest of the three cycling disciplines in terms of structured participants. Thousands of people ride their mountain bikes around the countryside every day of the week, but very few of them ride competitively. So that's a bit of a challenge to grow that sort of mass participation into some more structured sorts of performance, and that's one of the mandates that Spark and Bike NZ have got. And obviously there's road cycling as well. A lot of road cycling goes on in the region already. As a consequence of this, there will be even more. We'll be hosting events, we'll be doing development programs in schools, and that applies across the board. We will be out in the community promoting and developing all forms of cycling, road, track, mountain bike and BMX, and hopefully that touches tens of thousands of kids in the community and their parents year on year. So huge community benefits. From a track point of view, it's also important to understand that there's a limited capacity for how much track can be ridden in the velodrome. No more theoretically than 25 people on the track at a time, and it's one track. So we can't cater for everybody who potentially wants to ride track. So what we'll be doing is we'll be going around the region to the Te Awamutu, Rotorua, Taupo and Hamilton where there's existing outdoor tracks. And we'll be saying to their communities, we want to run track development programs in your community, because once you've got the bug, we want you to come to the home of cycling velodrome and do some indoor stuff. So it's a huge, far-reaching package that, as I've already said, isn't just about riding your bike at an elite level. It's about riding your bike.
I have to ask you about the costs. Let's talk about that. Can you just clarify exactly how much the whole project is projected to cost and what the ongoing costs are likely to be?
Yeah, sure. Look, we've worked from the outset on a figure of $29.5 million, which is basically our worst case scenario. That includes a $1 million contribution from St. Peter's for land and infrastructure that makes us infinitely more accessible. So the actual construction cost of $28.5 million, and that includes BMX contributions, some small mountain bike costs as well. Excuse me. And that $28.5 million, we're already working on paring that down to get it as cost effective as we can. Unfortunately, it's a chicken and egg situation, because until we can confirm our funding, we can't sit down with our architects and engineers and builders and say spend another 150 hours refining the price, because we don't have that 100% surety. So while we've done some preliminary work and we do believe that we can pull back maybe a couple of $1 million on that back to 26.5. We haven't done that exercise in its final capacity. So that's where we're at the moment. $26.5 million. The funding, $7 million from government. Government's got $7 million sitting there at Spark's office at the moment. The cheque's ready to pick up. All we need is Waikato Regional Council to agree to make a contribution of $6 million from across the region. $2.90 per rateable property throughout the Waikato region is what we're looking for. So in terms of individual contributions from ratepayers, it's half a cup of coffee. So and it's important to understand that that's per property, not per person. So $2.90 per year. If Waikato Regional Council do that, Environment Bay are plenty have indicated that they're interested in looking at a similar scenario, a slightly lesser figure, something in the order of $2 to $4 million. But taking a similar funding approach. So impact on ratepayers, we'd have to say it's bugger all. $2.90 to get a facility in the community that brings an $11.5 million benefit every year. That's been independently assessed, $11.5 million as a minimum year on year. It's been reviewed by Deloitte. They agree. And in fact, I think, to use their words, they say that the figures are reasonable. So we assume that that's a form of non-committal agreement. Waikato Regional Council have reviewed Deloitte's review, and they're happy with it. So there seems general acceptance at $11.5 million. So through the life of the facility, over 30 years, it's over $330 million that this facility is going to pump back into our community, in terms of people moving to town, renting houses, buying food, buying petrol, visitation nights with visitors staying in motels and the like, and all of that money flows through everybody's hands ultimately. It all creates jobs, it all creates opportunities, and every one of those dollars will touch 10 pairs of hands or more by the time it's done its cycle. So amazing benefit for the community, particularly when you consider it's a one-off contribution, no contribution towards running costs, because we strongly believe, in fact we know, that the facility can pay its way, and as a backstop, Perry's have offered to underwrite $250,000 of that a year for the first 10 years until the place is well and truly on its feet. But that gives us some confidence. But to be honest, I don't think that we'll need it. The business case stands up very, very well.
Okay, so just to be absolutely unequivocal for all the sceptics out there, if this facility does happen to run at a loss, it's not the ratepayers' problem, it's your problem.
Absolutely, yeah. The Home of Cycling Charitable Trust will own and operate the building on land that's either leased or gifted from St Peter's. If the place runs at a profit, fantastic. We can run more programs. If things are tight, that's our problem. We have to find some funding, and we believe we can, although we don't believe it's necessary. Everything in the business plan indicates that there's more people want to use this than there is time available to use it. Most significantly, in terms of that business case, is that we have Bike NZ as an anchor tenant. Our figures show that if nobody else was to use the facility, Bike NZ's rental for track access and office space more than covers the annual operating costs of the facility. So essentially, anything extra we do, as long as it's a cost recovery or better, we're in business, and we reap the benefits of it. So important that Bike NZ's tenancy, they relocate their entire operation to the Waikato, which will be something in the vicinity of 200 people that'll touch in terms of staff, families, athletes. Moving 200 people into town, no matter what day of the week it is or what the industry is, I'd have to say would be something pretty attractive for any council. So, we're certainly hoping that Waikato Regional Council, in the middle of this next coming week, puts their hand up and comes on board. So that's looking very positive.
So, assuming, let's say that does happen, what else is left to go, and where do you feel that you're at the moment before all this needs to happen?
As long as we get the tick off from Waikato Regional Council next week, that will send this out for public consultation. So there'll be a something in the order of 3-month public consultation period where everybody will have the opportunity to have their say, supporters and naysayers alike. The small group of vocal naysayers have had plenty to say already, so we don't imagine we'll hear anything new from them. But there's a lot of people out in the community who are supportive and are just expecting it to happen. So part of the challenge for us, I guess, is to make sure that those people do understand that they need to have their say, and rather than sitting quietly on the sidelines and assuming that it's going to happen. So we'll need to do some work driving that public support or the vocal public support. Some funding still to secure, and we're there, but we're close to the 70% funding mark. 80% is the kick-on figure. So once we get to that 80%, we'll be getting the shovel out and starting digging the hole.